Ask not what prevailing can do for you, but what you can do to prevail. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xaereth Prevails. Today, we're going to talk about something that comes up quite a bit in most of my discussions. Like, all my discussions, we don't talk about anything else. No, but it is an important thing to discuss. Where do we find our relic mats? How do we get the best bang for our buck? Because there's a ton of terrible deals out there, and there's a lot of tough materials to farm. Let's talk about how to get them, guys. It's a worthy topic, in my opinion. I made a video about this over a year ago. You can see my thumbnails are about the same. Maybe even my new one's a little bit better. But let's talk about it after we say thanks to my patrons. You guys are amazing. Thank you, guys. You guys are the best. Y'all are the best. Also, guys, if you want to support this channel for free, please hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, comment, do something to mount the algorithm. Ask not how you can mount the algorithm. Just do it, guys. Just jump on it. Let's go for it, guys. So we're just gonna go straight from the most common one, or maybe it's not super common. It's commonly required though, and then we'll go to the most rare. I'm gonna put timestamps in there as well. So Carbonite circuit boards. This is one of the two biggest crunches people have. Either it's this one or Bronzium wiring. We'll cover Bronzium in just a minute, but Carbonite circuit boards. This is something that I've never really struggled that much with. A little bit, but I'll tell you what, there's two places that are probably the best. You don't want to buy them for crystals. You don't want to buy them for... There's a lot of different places you could buy them. What you want to do, you either want to farm Lightside 1C, and even though there's a couple other nodes out there that have a little bit better drops for, well, it looks like they have better drops. This one has all the different things that drop here are good for Carbonite circuit boards. So 1C, most efficient place to go for them if you want to buy them with energy. And if you want to, this is a strategy that is actually espoused for a lot of people, even in free-to-play, and that's buying this pack, the Relic Amplifier pack. This is the best. These come out about every month and a half. They're released into the store, and they're available for, I don't know, 5 days a week, something like that. And you pay 500, and then you get, it's like a gamble pack. You get somewhere between 100 and 300 Carbonite circuit boards, and like gamble packs are something that I've never really wanted to trust or anything. These ones are a pretty great value, and this is something that a ton of people who are even free to play will do. They'll just save their crystals, and when they show up, they'll just buy as many of these as they can. I think there's like a limit of 10, but they'll load up on circuit boards, and then they don't have to worry about it. I'm not saying you should just spend your crystals. You should, if you don't want to spend your crystals on it, you can do refreshes, which is also crystals, I suppose, but you can do them on the Lightside 1C is probably the best place to go for that. Now, Bronzium. This should be stated over all of them. Like, most of them aren't going to be good for crystals, not going to be good value for GET2, or not GET, but Raid Currency 2. Terrible. There's some of the very worst value you can find in the game, period. Like, for any deals, they just bend you over on this. Frankly, that's horrible. This value is absolutely crap if you want to spend, like, you gotta watch out, guys. Almost nothing that they charge for this material is worth the cost. It is crazy. The two that I'm showing are two of the most egregious, but I mean, that Relic Amplifier pack that they have for Carbonite circuit boards, they have it for Bronzium wiring, and it's just horrific. It's terrible. It's highway robbery. And so these are the places that are not terrible deals to get them. First off, Lightside Node 7B. This is one that this is my default farm, but you have the Mark V laptops, you have Carbonite, or you have Kyrotech, which obviously everyone needs Kyrotech. We all need it. But then you have the Mark V keypads or whatever they're called, guys, over on the right, those are going to turn into Bronzium wiring. It's still not like the most efficient or satisfying, but this is the place to go if you want to farm them from a node. This is by far the best, in my opinion, and I think I shared that opinion is shared by a lot of people. The other places you can go to get materials for this, you can get them at the Guild Activity Store. And you want to purchase the ones, you can see the young Han Solo, obviously he just turns into Shard Shop currency, but the ones next to it, the two next to it, usually turn into Bronzium wiring. We'll cover, there's one that doesn't turn into Bronzium wiring, but it's even better, and we'll cover that next. But then the Squad Arena, if you scroll all the way down, a lot of those materials also turn into Bronzium wiring. Not all of them, though. So keep your eye out. They're all of the pieces of gear here, though, are ones that you want to be buying anyways. I mean, we're not going to talk about specific currencies here. I have a different video on where to spend all your currencies, but those are two places that you can get Bronzium wiring pretty well. The other place to get Bronzium wiring, folks, this isn't the very best value, but if you're like my main account where I don't need Carbonite anymore. I don't need stun guns. I don't need any of the purple gear hardly at all. I just have a small collection of characters that are not gear 12. And so if you're in that position, which I know that's pretty rare, small number of people, but if you are in that situation, if you really want to get the Bronzium wiring here with that material, because otherwise you'll just be throwing it away anyways. For Mark 1, these are the 6 best value ones. Look at that. Mark, Chai Web syringe. It's a Mark 6, I believe. Hold on, let's change that, shall we? That'll be epic. If I can actually find the right button. Alright, whoa, it's fixed. Madness. So, I'm not saying you should do this. People who are newer to the game, or even mid-game, almost none of you should be spending this currency on it, but if you're just going to be throwing it away, you may as well be getting Bronzium. That's still a relevant farm for my main account, getting Bronzium, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And now let's go into Chromium Transistors. There's really only one farm that you need for this. This one is really problematic for a lot of people, and the thing is, if you don't know about this, this will change your entire way of approaching this particular farm. So if you look, so you saw the Bronzium farm back here, right? Like with the Guild Activity Store here in the middle with young Han Solo. And I said that there was one piece of gear that does not turn into Bronzium. It's this Mark 7 Blast Tech weapon mod, and that turns into Chromium Transistors. That's all you need to get, guys. Buy it with GT, or with your guild tokens, and search for it every single time the store refreshes if you can. You can see where it is in relation to young Han Solo again. Now I should be buying that and the Mark 6. In fact, those are both great deals, and this it turns into a massive number of Chromium Transistors, to the point where I don't know if CG realized what they were doing by putting that piece of gear where it was. That's all I've bought on any of my accounts for a long time. That's all you need, guys. Aurodium Heatsinks. This is the same thing. You only need one thing. So you want to get Mark 3 hollow projector salvage. That's what you want, and then you turn that into actual Mark 3 hollow projectors, and then you turn the Mark 3 hollow projectors into heat sinks, and that's the only efficient thing. Everything else is just total garbage, horrible value. This is the only acceptable route to getting Aurodium Heatsinks, in my opinion. Everything else is pretty bad, but luckily we have the Mark III hollow projectors, which used to be a huge bottleneck way back in the day of actual gear, hilariously enough. Now Electrium, I'm stealing some slides from a different thing that I made, a different video I made, but hopefully it's not too different. Now, Electrium is one that you kind of need a lot of, because once you hit Relic 5, well, once you hit, Relic 5, that you've got that long climb from 5 to 7, because 6 is kind of a weird no man's land where you can't really use 6 that much, so you're going to need 40 Electrium to get from 5 to 7, And so you want a lot of them, but it requires a lot of pretty expensive pieces. And so there's a few different places you can get it from. So first, you can get it from raid currency. That's going to be the answer for everything for Electrium onward. Everything forward, raid currency solves all of it. But if you can't get it, you can buy it with conquest currency. I think that's one acceptable thing for most of them at this piece or onward. And then daily deals, this one and the one, let's see, the mark, what are they called? Hold on, guys. I keep forgetting these things. Ah, yes. The impulse detectors. You can find good deals for those in the daily deals thing here on the top. You can see, like, if you're going to spend crystals, that's a good place to get them. Honestly, like, that's probably the best value for your crystals that you're going to find. And then there's also this cool wristband trick. So let's actually go into the game. And I'm gonna show you guys. Whoa, we're in the game. Madness. So here's how this works, folks. Now, we want Electrium, right? Obviously, that seems obvious. So let's do wristbands. If we want 30 wristbands, if we spend 30 wristbands, we get 6 Electrium. Okay, you guys know this. Now, what I want you to think of though is, and this isn't always going to work because eventually we'll start running out of this bonus stuff. But look at this wristband here, guys. So if we take the full wristband, if we turn a full wristband into it, it turns into 13 Electriums. The thing is, we have nowhere else to spend this Mark 6 sensor array stuff except for on wristbands, and so I have a ton of excess of this, whereas I don't have a huge excess of these things. And so what you do, you can craft one of these. Hey, look at that, we have a whole wristband now. And instead of just spending 30 wristband pieces for 6, you get value for the ones that haven't been used at all, that you don't have any use for all that excess. You get 13. The same trick works for a few different of them, like these sunglass things. Hold on, what have I done? There we go. See, these Mark 7 fusion furnaces don't have a use for them. There's a few of them, so experiment with that, guys. It really helps. It's a really helpful trick to be able to make your gear stretch and turn them into Electriums. So let's go back to the slideshow, though. Slideshow, PowerPoint, death by PowerPoint, right? That's good times. It's not, I realize. But all right, Zinbiddles next. We have. So we're starting to have a diminished supply of where we can get these. So yeah, you can turn gear into Zinbiddles, and that's fine. That's an obvious one. All the farms for that are basically the same, so I didn't put that on the slide itself. The only other places to get it, I don't love to spend crystals on it. No, though I will say the Relic Amplifier card, or the Relic Amplifier packs for Zinbiddles and for Electrium are both, they're fine. They're decent. Like, they're not nearly as impactful as the Carbonite ones, but they're okay. Otherwise, Mark III raid currency, as per usual. That's going to be the answer for all of these moving forward. And then you can buy them for GET3, and it's okay value. The thing you just have to remember, guys, is most accounts are going to want Kyrotech instead. It used to be like, yeah, you could just get whatever you need from here for a while once we were getting GET3, but now that we have Mark III raid currency, that changes the equation a little bit and makes it so that you can't spend raid currency efficiently on Kyrotech. That doesn't exist, and so GET3 becomes a really powerful currency to get Kyrotech, while the Mark III raid currency can be used to buy all of the high-end relic materials. Now, we've got impulse detectors here, and this one, for a long time, this is one of the biggest bottlenecks for me. It's Relic 8. This piece is the reason a lot of people don't go into higher relic levels than 7, because impulse detectors are tough to get. And again, Mark III raid currency, it's great. GET3, same spiel, about the same value as you would get with the Zinbiddle cards. the light side node 9F, if you want to farm these things, those bayonets turn into impulse detectors. It's not a great exchange rate, but if you get tired of farming that 7, the light side 7B, or whatever it was that I linked you guys earlier, with the Chirotech on it. If you get tired of that one, if you have too many of those Chirotechs, which doesn't really happen, but if you did, then you could farm 9F. You get the Mark III holo projectors, which is great for the heat sinks, and then you get the gold balls, which are a pretty decent, they're a bottleneck as well for gear, and then you get the bayonets. The bayonets aren't super efficient. It takes a long time to farm a full impulse detector, but I do like 9F is probably my second favorite node in the game. Aeromagnifiers. Now this is one that for a long time was raid only, and my main account, well, I guess I'm basically out on my main account. My middle account has like 700 something of these, so I don't need to buy these, but my main account has bought a lot of Relic 8s, and so I'm getting kind of short of them. Best value, again, Mark III raid currency. The second best value is just going to be basically shipments, because that's the only place you can buy them. You can, keep in mind guys, you can buy them for crystals though. I mean, it hurts, but you can. Now, Gyrda Keypads, these are tricky because you can farm a bunch of... these take forever to farm. If you want to do it on an energy node, takes for frickin' ever. Drives me up a wall. So, once again, Mark III raid currency and GET3 is another place you can get them. Not a wonderful place, again, for the same reasons as before. You probably just want to spend Mark III raid currency there. But otherwise, like that's the only places that you can spend crystals on them. Not the best value, but you can. And finally, we have Droid Brains, folks. And they're territory war rewards. You can also get Aeromagnifiers there, yay! But otherwise, a lot of people have been surprised when I've said things like, hey, you can get Droid Brains in shipments, and they're like, what? I didn't know that. It's a pretty predictable discussion. In fact, it's not noteworthy, except for how often it occurs. Now, I didn't realize that this is what a Droid Brain looked like, in fact, but I guess I never really wanted to know. It's just pretty unremarkable. These things are one of the rarest materials in the game right now. Recently, CG has released a few different things to make them more available to a lot of players, which is very interesting to me. It makes me wonder if we're getting Relic 10 soon. I always predict that, but it does seem like a lot of indicators are pointing toward that now. And so I'll let you guys know how to get Relic 10 at some point. If we need to update this video, we can. That being said, I believe this is it, folks. So let me know. Is there a different place that you guys farm these materials that you think is a better value that I missed? I'd love to hear it, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Xaereth prevails.